Welcome to the bold analysis. Weeks after former Taita Taveta MP, the KANU era Member of Parliament, Basil Criticus, a close ally of President William Ruto, was handed over a planned government job as the chairperson of Kenya Trade Network Agency Board. It seems in Taita Taveta, things are turning thick. And this is from Saturday. According to a report that has emerged, is that residents are protesting over something that I want us to look at in this podcast. Kindly subscribe to our channel. And also, I want to say thank you for those who support our podcasts from every part of this country. Basil Critical is a long-term friend, or rather long-term ally of William Ruto. Back then in the days when, during the KANU era, and until William Ruto was president, until William Ruto was a minister in the Grand Coalition government. And during that time, there was a land transaction between the two leaders. And amidst that land transaction, allegedly, Basil had some loan. And he asked William Ruto to pay off for him the loan in FC. Then he gave him some piece of land. So that discussion, I remember last year, I think during the campaign trail, it emerged on the land ownership question in Taita Taveta, and William Ruto will then go there and confirm that indeed he is a landowner there.
Mnajua hata mimi ni mzee wa Mata pale Mata. Huyu mjumbe wenu wa zamani Basil Criticus aliniambia nimlipie deni alikuwa naye kule AFC, alafu akanikatia kashamba yake kadogo pale. Mimi nikawa mwenyeji huko. Na mimi nataka niwaulize watu wa county hii, mimi nikiwa mmoja wenu hapa katika county hii.
After confessing that he was a landowner there, of course, the question has still been going on. So on Saturday, the same land adjacent to William Ruto's land, there is another land adjacent to his land. I think his land is around 2,500 acres. So adjacent to that land that belongs to William Ruto is Basil Critical's space. And so he was, allegedly Basil was trying to fence the area and erect an electric fence, and the residents came out guns blazing, led by the area member of parliament, John Bwire, who led residents who were pulled down the fence, the electric fence, and they were demanding that that land belonged to them as squatters. And they said, according to the article I was reading, that they will not allow more land to be sold to non-residents because that land belongs to them. So, of course, nothing just happens out of mere coincidence. Things are normally organized. And if you see, and after that Saturday, the area member of parliament was actually summoned by DCI Taita Taveta. And still after that summon, still on Tuesday, the workers resumed. The guys who were erecting the fence, they resumed. And again, residents, I think, tipped the MP. And the MP recharged the crowd again. And these guys were chased from that place. So it is something that has now come out that the residents are now rejecting the land now. One of the reasons why they're rejecting behind it is the fact that they understand, of course, the owner has told, is telling, has revealed that the land belongs to him and is just fencing it so that he can use it for his private, maybe farming and doing his other private business. But the residents have a feeling that that land has been sold to a powerful senior civil servant. And then if you follow the whole thing, that where seems to be the problem. Now, the area that has been fenced is an area that the squatters are still staying there. People are still staying there. This is something that has emerged. And when I read that article, when I was just reading this article, I was just smiling because for, I don't know whether I say deliberately or not knowing, the current crop of leadership are the ones that brought in the land discussion. When goons were mobilized to attack the Northern city, and people said the leaders came, picked the microphone, stand in front of the microphone, saying the way they were going to deal with people who are having huge tracts of land. And it is very regrettable because by then we played with fire and we warned the country that if there is one thing that has been that is normally very emotive, is the question of land. So when we did, and we really tried to say all sort of things on the Northland City, now Taita Taveta is clearly also rejecting the Basel Critical's decision to fence that land under allegations that that land has been bought by a powerful senior civil servant. And of course, you will just understand that one of the triggers would be the gentleman had been in the court for quite some time, and immediately Ruto came to power. They ignited their relationship, and he's been given a job, and maybe you'll connect the dots. So that's why the society is actually revolting. Now, the question of the land belonging to squatters is also there, even though the investor, the owner of the land, is saying that the squatters are staying there illegally and they're supposed to be pushed out. I remember one of the lines that was largely used to attack Uhuru Kenyatta is that people were ejected from, is it Kariobangi, at the height of COVID-19. There were those evictions and they were done in an inhumane manner. So on this one, it's a point of what exactly is going on here. Because I think sometimes we get things wrong. What is happening in Taita Taveta is the same as what is happening in Kericho. In Kericho, the political leadership there promised the residents about some very impossible things in respect to the tea farms. And when they realized that those campaign pledges could not be met, they pushed, they charged the residents there. And the residents there have been already having some hostility between the Kericho residents and those who are the tea farm owners. And I'm saying we got a wrong presidents because despite of Kindiki coming out to say and even to confess that some of the leaders, some of the people behind the Kericho tea farm attacks, raid, are actually politicians within the UDA, but nothing was done, or little has been done in terms of punishment. I remember even the governor was summoned by DCI, a host of some MCAs and even some MPs in the area. But that has not yet yielded fruit. So the art of not raining rogue on leaders who would go extrajudicial means is something that has been entertained in this country. The people that raided Northland City are well known. They were really well mobilized, but nothing has been done despite of IG Kome, saying that, you know what, we are going to saying that they're doing investigations and they will bring the perpetrators to book. That has not been seen. So that is what is happening. If the other end it was being done, it is the same loophole that is happening. Number two, This kind of attacks or this kind of public rejections, where the public is rejecting such a project, is because, and it is a wake up call to the political leadership, to the leadership, that land injustices still remains a greatest impediment to our national reconciliation and healing. It's a big, because land is very emotive. It's a very emotive thing. I think it's one of the basic needs, if you ask me. Apart from it being a factor of production, it's also a factor. If you want to have shelter, you need land. Apart from it being also a bit of investment. So if there are many people who will still feel aggrieved that we are being denied our rights, our land rights, then we still have a long way to go. And that is what the political leadership needs to pick from this. I don't think the Tata Taveta is going to be the first and it's going to be the last one. No, these things are still going to happen so long as the leadership will not see to it. Now, I don't know what you think, because the kind of coincidence of the Basil being given a job and then immediately after some time the fence is being erected is being viewed as a proxy. And indeed, maybe the said land could be belonging to someone else. It is being viewed as a proxy. Now, the vigor by the MP to go and face is also revealing that maybe in the fullness of time, the real owner of the land will emerge. But are we really listening to the voice of the squatters? Who are we going to listen? Who is going to listen to the voice of those squatters? Because I can tell you, it doesn't matter how many protests they're going to do. If the destiny is for them to leave that land, they'll actually faithfully be evicted.